Hi everyone, it's Stumpy here from Kent Urban Exploration. So I'm here for you today with a little bit of a different one, in that I'm going to be above ground the entire time, most likely. So what I'm here today to look at is an old army camp in Wouldham in Kent. So it's known as Eastern Command Bridging Camp, and it was used primarily for the Royal Engineers to build and practice building Bailey bridges and other prototype variations of the different bridges they used. So luckily enough, what I've actually got is I've got the official map of this camp, dated 1944. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to show you a closer look at the map indoors so you can get a good idea of what it's going to be like. Then I'm going to cut back to this and I'll take you a look around the field and see what's still standing. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, hi again. As I said a moment ago in the field, I'm going to take a bit of a closer look at this map in the comfort of the indoors, so stop it getting damp or blown away in the wind. So what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to take high definition pictures of this map and upload them to the Kent History website. So I'm not sure just how many of these are actually in existence, so I'm sure it'll be fascinating to some people in the future. So this was known as Eastern Command Bridging Camp during the later years of its life. Have a little look at it now. You can see there, it says to Borstal. That's the main road. Goes all the way down there. You see there's the main entrance of the camp. In a minute I'm going to take you along this route. You see it's quite a highly detailed map. As you come down here, also shows all the drainage ditches and stillage pits. This goes down here to point A. Now a little bit this side of the map. It carries on from there. There's point A. And then this bit, there's another section of the camp that's a bit further closer to the river. Let's see on this. 5th of August 1944. So I'll see you back out in the field in a moment. Hi again. So now we've both had a good look at the map, I'll take you for a little walk around the field to see exactly what is still left standing. So to start with, this would have been the main gate to the camp, where all the vehicles would have entered. This hard standing here was a coal store. Now you might notice that isn't actually detailed on the map. I've actually got a bit of a personal connection to this camp, in that my granddad was a lance corporal and actually served on this very camp. So I'm very excited to go and see the hard standing of the location and the vehicle workshop he used to work in. So you'd come in the camp from that gate. On the right here would have been a small guardhouse to check all the vehicles coming in. You see most of this part of the field was empty. Either side of the road you had a drainage ditch either side, and then over there you can see that concrete hard standing. That would have been one of the first storage sheds, of which there were 5. So we're going to walk past them all now and show you. See, there's the concrete hard standing for them. You can see under there the little concrete bridge that would have went across the ditch. Be able to get a better look at the ones a little bit further down. And then we come to the last one. If I remember correctly, yep. In this one you can actually see the little channel where the ditch would have run underneath that. So here, somewhere there would have been that big round fire water tank. And in this concrete bridge you can see the pipe, the round pipe still in there. I'll take you along that way in a second. For now, I'm to go in this side of the field. So according to the plan, that would have been the drying room. Have a closer look. You can see there's not much left of these other than the foundations. So then here would have been the sergeant's quarters. So somewhere here would have been that first pad shelter we saw. Looks like nothing remains. So over there, so this big concrete hard standing here, this would have been the dining rooms, kitchens. As you can see, there is. This is actually the largest bit of hard standing still left. See, quite a bad condition. I must admit, I do wish I'd have come in here and filmed this before the cows were most recently in here. The cows have only been moved out of this field a few days, so I thought I'd come in while I had the opportunity, but that might have been a mistake. Well. So then there would have been, according to the map, the other sergeant's mess there. Looks like it's still got the entrance steps. An interesting little dip in this. What that was for. Of course, the map I've got that I showed you earlier was from 1944. This army camp, it was actually first built in the 1800s. Obviously, much further in that direction, you'd have had Fort Borstal. Actually, if you can just see that line of trees up there, that would have been where Fort Borstal was, with Fort Bridgewood's further that way. So this was like the outlying defences of the outlying defences of Chatham Dockyard. So this would have been the Sergeant's Mess cookhouse, what we're standing on now. So yeah, because the map I've got is from 1944, and this camp didn't close until I believe it was the 60s, possibly 70s. I'll double check and I'll put the accurate dates in the description. Some of these buildings could have been changed from what they are now. So then we'll come back this way. Okay, so it seems this building here, just to consult the map, was the officers' sleeping area, it seems. So it's a good portion of that still left. See the old brickwork for the foundations. So I'm going to take a little walk down this road. So interestingly, I have it under very good authority that underneath several of these, this one and two more you'll see a bit further down there were actually in underground air raid shelter sections. Now I've had a good look around. Unfortunately I couldn't see any. I'm almost certain that when this camp was demolished they would have been backfilled and filled completely. See one of the old drainage ditches, which should be on the, yes, that's on this map as, says that MH manhole underneath the officers sleeping. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut back up here and have a look at this area of the camp, because it's mainly drainage ditches heading down to the dikes that went to the river. So I'm going to cut back up that way. Right, so if we head this way we should be able to, it seems just here there's that other fire tank. So it looks like in here would have been that little store. It would have continued along down here. And in these trees somewhere should be another cookhouse and a washing up area. Which, I was a little bit off, it's actually this here. I can barely make out the foundations of that one. So what is further? So a little bit further down here was that incinerator. And what you'll notice is in the ground these concrete channels. These are all the drainage ditches for the wastewater and sewage. And that one we're looking at now is that one there. So we're looking at it from that direction. So if we head this way, there should be the non-commissioned officers' latrine. Makes sense, they have their own special one a little bit further away. Don't want them mixing with the riffraff, eh? Consult the map. Now that's a bit hard to tell where they are. Let's look over this little ridge, see if we can see anything here. There's a bit of concrete there. So, what I believe I'm standing on now is what's left, it appears, of that NCO's latrine area. Yeah, if I imagine that tree there is most likely that tree there, so that would put me, so I'd be standing towards the end back there. I'd be heading off in that direction. Seems to make sense. Good. Now we're heading down here. This area of the camp pretty much reserved for the wastewater runoff. There's very little down here because it's boggy land, quite boggy land down here. Right, so here's one of those channels. As you can see in the distance, you've got 1, 2, 3. They're all converging on this area here, which according to the map was a sullage pit. See the 3 converging there. So I can't imagine it's still there, but I do want to be careful in case it's in, there's a giant pit in that bush. Certainly don't want to fall into an old sullage pit. That would ruin my day entirely. Some of the old foundations for it. Okay. So all 3 seem to converge around about here. So the sullage pit should be right underneath me, because as you can see they all converge, and it's just in front of it. Right, so behind us here, let's show you that while we're here. This bit was a dike just in there. You can see the reeds, and you got another field even more boggy than this one, and behind that line of trees there would be the River Medway. You can see Cuxton in the background. A little drainage concrete square. If I follow this concrete drainage pipe, I should get to another set of latrines. So, I'll just consult the map. I believe this here, that I just walked past, this was another set of men's latrines. And I believe the next one is just under here. You can see it. See it starting there. Certainly would like to see this camp in its heyday. There are a few pictures of it, plus my granddad's got a few pictures of it which no one would have seen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a website article on this camp on Kent history. Right, so looking at the map, see those 2 intersecting pipes just there? They are these 2. So that shower block would have actually been the other side of this fence. See, just over there. What I'll do is I'll be able to show you that bit in a minute when I eventually make it around there. So what I'm going to take you up here on the left side of the road, and we'll come back down the right side of that little road. So first of all, these concrete structures here, which there is not much left, and currently used by the farmer, they are those stores and offices. You see the very first thing we come to is another set of ablutions. The sheer amount of toilet blocks in this camp is unreal. See, that is on the... Right, then as you come up here, literally here, there's a kitchen and dining area. This next one, according to the map, is yet another set of ablutions. Let's have a look. Seems to be just drainage ditch. Well, that's interesting, I must admit, because so when you look on the map, just past that set of ablutions, there are these two pad air raid shelters. And these were Anderson type shelters that would have been partly buried, and this seems to match up with the exact location of one. So I'm going to put my torch down, have a little look. I can definitely see sloped concrete. It looks very, very well backfilled, if this is what I think it is. So, short of a hell of a lot of digging on a privately owned field, don't think we're going to be able to see inside that. I'll have to check into the design of these shelters, but I'm imagining the whole thing is just collapsed. I don't think there's going to be a physical void in there, as far as I know. It would have just been a small dugout bit of ground with corrugated iron over it, with earth piled up on top. So most likely that is the last bit of evidence that's here. So let's continue down here. So, this drainage hole is likely that pipe that goes between the two pad shelters, which means there should be another one underground around about this section where I'm walking over now. Can't see any evidence of this one though. So just while I'm here, take you a little look at one of the drainage ditches, just because this one is one of the more standing ones on the camp. So I want to make sure to get everything on this camp on film. because I do have quite a personal connection to this camp. Oh, that's interesting. Bit of metal in the ground. Looks like the wrong way up for a drain cover. You can see in the concrete they would have had the ceramic pipe in the middle. We've then gone into these junction boxes, give you a handy place to get in there and be able to fix any problems. And we led down to the dike and the slurry pit, sludge pit that I showed you earlier. So, take a quick look in this one while we're here, and I'll move on to the next structure over there. This one's for a clay pigeon shot. This field is crisscrossed with these drainage pipes. So then that brings us to this structure here. On the map, that is on the map, that is this building labelled 29. Now unfortunately I don't have the key to this map, so when you see all these numbered buildings I actually don't have that part, which is a shame. But looking at the evidence, I would say it is probably another shower block or another toilet block. As you can see, the drainage pipes going to it. And in the middle you can almost see like cubicles or like a large shower area. And with this one, it's one of the tallest ones still standing on the camp. So you can actually see that underneath it is just all rubble and backfill that they've built on top of. Can I say, my family have known this camp their entire lives. The old steps up to it. So I have first-hand knowledge of there actually being underground air raid shelters under some of these buildings that are not labelled on the map as the pad shelters. I've had a good look at what ones that are pointed out to me, but unfortunately I can't see any way to access them or any evidence that they're still there. So then we get to this, which on the map is yet another Ablutions block. This one says not in use, so I'm not quite sure why. So then now this is bringing us back out onto that main road we walked down when we first come in, and brings us to a major central area of this camp that was the dining room, the officers' sleeping mess, stores and kitchens. So have a little look round. This structure here that I was briefly on earlier was the dining room and kitchens. So I've had a look all around these. When the field wasn't so full of cow mess, I certainly regret not filming it back then. So I come to a little store. I assume it would have been a kitchen store given close proximity to the kitchen and cooking areas. Gone down this path. Now what they used to use this path for is later on in the video I'm actually going to take you all the way down there So as I say, this was a Royal Engineers bridging camp. It's where they practiced the bridge building and the new prototypes of bridges and such. They used to take their heavy ferries and low loaders down this path, down the lane I'm going to walk down in a minute, out onto the river. So if you just go behind this tree, previously on this area here, some men's living quarters. Slightly further down here was another set of living quarters. If I head to the end of this path, it seems there should have been another one of those pad air raid shelters under here. Can't see any evidence of it. So we've come down here a little bit more. Seems here would have been a storehouse and something like a living hut under this section here. So that nicely takes us to the bit of the camp I was most looking forward to seeing. As I mentioned before, my granddad used to work on this camp. This concrete hard standing in front of us was actually the vehicle workshop he used to work in. So it is a real treat to be able to stand on the very spot he spent so many years working, fixing all manner of vehicles, from Land Rovers, Bedford trucks, the cranes, the bridge machinery. This is truly a great feeling, standing on this. You can see there it is on the map, number 37, the car part shop. So they're moving down a bit further. This bit here was that lecture room we saw on the map. A little bit of the concrete left. Then a little bit further down there, where that water trough is, you had some living huts that went in a line, 2 of them along there. I'm actually going to walk down that way now. So that would have been this building 40 on the map. And again, unfortunately I don't have the key, so I can't actually tell what it was used for. Which means along there would have been some offices in the tree line. Can't see any evidence left there. So let's use the old stairs to building 40. So then, if we're standing on building 40, that means in front of us there are 2 more of those pad air raid shelters. So it'll be that way up, the way we're facing. And as you can see, there is absolutely no evidence of them still being here. So this large open space here, oh good lord, I've come the wrong way. My shoes will never be the same again. Oh. This here is the old car park. So it was primarily close to all the officers' huts and the offices it'd be more official business and the officers' cars. See, so those two shelters, one of them would have been in the middle of the back of the car park, so somewhere under that. I apologise for the view. So then you go a little bit further down, and I'm just going to walk over to this because I'm unsure what this structure is. I'll show you the map in a second, but it appears to be a newer building than what is on this map. Just get a good angle to show you. So there's the car park there, but as you can see, this is not on the plan, so I imagine whatever this was newer than 1944. This camp eventually closed in 1967. My granddad worked here until that day and beyond, clearing all the stuff out. It then lay unused for many years. Most of the building's still standing. Would have been a dream to still see that. Until finally, obviously its use now is for the local farmer as a cow grazing field. So I would say this piece of concrete here is likely to be that officer's quarters, which would have gone in, and the end of it would have been the tree line. So the final thing to show you in this field is just that house there. That used to be the married soldiers' quarters, building 41. However, now it is a privately owned house, so completely out of bounds, so I'm not going to go any closer to there, and I'm going to take a little look back down the field. So as I said before, this was a bridging camp. What I'm going to take you down is I'm going to go back to the gate we saw at the end, and from there there's a few more hard standings where they used to keep the heavy pontoons, a large pond for the pontoons. There was a carpenter's shop, a store and a marine workshop. Now my granddad also from time to time worked in that marine workshop, so it's another building I'm quite looking forward to seeing. So I'll take a quick walk down this field. Stakes in the ground. Wondering if they're military or just for the farmer. I know this field for quite a while was used by the TA, possibly the regular army too, for training exercises. When I was a kid, I used to come down here and we used to be able to see them in sometimes doing like combat manoeuvres throughout the field, advancing on each other, throwing smoke grenades. It was a real treat to watch. So I've always had a bit of a fascination with this camp. So it's certainly a pleasure, especially now I've got into the urban exploring, to actually come here and truly learn about it and take it in. And then once I'm over the gate, I can immediately see some anti-vehicle devices or tank traps. On the map it says over there was a trailer pump and a tractor shed, probably used for moving things from the main camp to where I'm about to go. down there. But I'm just going to cut into here quickly. To say this bit was all fenced off more recently, quite possibly by the farmer. And this structure I'm standing on, I'm a little unsure about. I'll just go down here. You see there's some more of the tank traps there. Now, as you can see, that drainage ditch and that one in there intersect with the other side of the fence here, just here, and the shower block should be going that way, running that way. And we've got this big structure to my left, which, although it runs roughly there, it's actually much squarer. I don't know. You can see it goes all the way along. So I think this is again a later addition. But I'll put my torch in because you know I have to. An urban exploring wall. If you see a hole, you've got to poke your torch in it. Ah, yeah, they see that's just how they build them. Build a little wall, fill it with rubble and concrete base, raise it off the floor nicely. So climb back up here. Right, so that was everything for the main camp field. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a little walk down the lane and see what I can see down there. So take you for a little walk with me, but I'll probably speed this bit up. So let's have a look. Right, so we've made it down the lane, so we're very close to the river now. Just over that grass bank is the river. I'll take you there in a second. Right, as we saw on the map, this section is also mapped out. We're standing, so we've come down the second part of the map. We're standing just about there. You can see this little turning just in front of us. In there, so in the turning, take a right, there's a carpenter's store and a store. That was also one of the buildings my granddad used to work in from time to time. So let's see what we can find. Because last time I came down here, it looked pretty inaccessible, but I didn't have the map, so I was unsure how far I should push. So I've come in that turning, let's take a right, so somewhere in here. Do need to be a bit careful because, say, the amount of dikes and ditches around here. Someone's piled earth here to keep things out. So let's have a little look. Looks like there's a bit of a path through here already cut. Right, so just to our right there's a big pond dug for the pontoons. And that was mainly for practicing putting them up and putting them together and general usage. Because over down here, can't really see it, is the pontoon park. So I'd park them from there, take them into there, practice, and then take them up that path, along that path, and where I'll show you in a minute, they'll then be able to put them in the river. So just take a little look up here, see if I can see anything still about. I'm guessing we're as far as this store nearly, number 44. Which doesn't appear there's anything left. Doesn't look like structural concrete like a building. Looks more like a curb you'd use at the side of a road. I've not been down here in many years. And when I walked down this very bit when I was 10, 12, it was clear. None of these brambles. My memory of this place was just completely clear, being able to walk down there. So seems to have reached the end and seems to have gone off the face of the map. That in front of me looks like ditches and a dike, so I'm going to have to turn back, which is a little unfortunate as we didn't see anything there. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably speed this bit up again and I'll see you back at the concrete. So what I'll do now, I'll show you the last little bit there is to see. And that's where they would have put the Bailey bridges and heavy ferries in the river. One story I used to hear is they used to put the bridges and the pontoons on in here, and they used to float them down the river up in the castle to practice. This is the last little bit. When the camp was open, all this area here was called the hard. All in this area there would have been a shingle hard area for taking the ferries down and easily into the river. So open up the map and show you. Use this handy bench. That gate is here where my finger is. You can see this bit would have been a shaly area, and all this bit was to be surfaced. Various areas for excavate and hardcore, and there would be the River Medway. So it'll be a nice easy route straight from the lane we just walked down into the river. That way. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this video here for today. I know it's been a bit of a long one, but I just wanted to make sure I covered every single bit of that camp, because you never know in future the field could be redeveloped and the history would be lost. So I hope you've enjoyed this one as much as I have. It's certainly been a pleasure looking around the old place my granddad used to work at. So until next time everyone, I'll see you all later.